Hi Cancer, welcome to your week ahead Taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. So these are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign, but watch them for all three so that you know which part of you I resonate with most as a reader. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So I just want to say to those of you that are new subbies, thank you so much for being here and coming on this journey with me. For those of you that are continued subbies, you know Rafi loves ya. It's wonderful to have you. And so for your key to the week this week, you've got the strength card, right? So the first thing that I want to say to you is this week, do be really hot on your physical health and vitality. Pay attention to your body as a messenger and pay attention to anything that arises as a message from your body as to how it wants you to move forward and to continue. You've got a jumping card there and it is, before I get into that, I also want to mention with the strength card, it does suggest that this week the Fool card and the strength card actually have a lot in common, right? The Fool card is where you just leap into it, you know, consequences be damned, I'm not going to think too much about it. Whereas the strength card is the same kind of energy, only you know what could go wrong, but you also know what could go right. And so you know that it's kind of a gamble, or maybe, you know what, I've never done this before, but I believe in it, or whatever the case is. You got to find that strength, you got to find that courage to tame your emotions and your jitters and find a way to go after it and to pursue something. So in all of these different areas of life, you are being encouraged to be brave, all right? Now, before we get into your actions and options, my tarot course is open for enrollment. Enrollment will close on the 31st of January. There are only 20 spots. I deliberately keep the group small so that I can make sure I give each person as much time as I possibly can, and also so that I'm really giving you the best of what I can give you. There are PDFs, there's bonus videos, there's lots of goodies. I like to keep it fun and interactive, and you will be getting to it like literally from the get-go. So if you would like to study tarot with me, get on that. There's a link in the description. And if you, I think there's 1 or 2 spaces left on the clearing cohort. So if you would like to get in on that, there's a deep, immersive energy work session. And trust me, I'm really proud of this. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say. All right, for your actions and options, you've got the 7 of Wands. Wow. Okay. So, my dear Cancers, this week, you are being encouraged and invited to really go to bat for yourself. This isn't about anyone else. It's not about, right, Cancer is a very defensive sign. It's a very protective sign. It cares for others. Will always fight for the underdog and all of that good stuff, right? Wonderful. But you don't often fight for yourself. This 7 of Wands with the Strength card, you got to find that grit this week. You got to find that courage to fight for yourself, to fight for something that you believe in or that you think is worth defending for yourself. Now, in terms of the options that are available to you, that 7 of Wands, you will have your moment to speak. You will have your moment to stand up and say what you feel needs to be said. I like this. And I actually think that, with the 7 of Wands, I always say to my clients, you're in the right. So you got to stick it out, right? This is one of those times where I encourage you to stand your ground and fight. For your communications and conversations, you've got the Page of Swords. So this might have a decidedly official or a professional kind of feel to it. So this might actually be through the career. In some way, shape or form, you might find this week that you are, maybe you have to find the courage to tell your boss, like, you know what, not cool. The way that you're behaving, the way that you're treating me, the way that you're treating the whole office or whatever the case might be, this is not cool. And, and I'm letting you know that. The Page of Swords can also represent interviews, right? So we're going to talk about that in just a moment. Now, but with the 7 of Wands, you're going to have to fight for what you believe in this week, right? And that Strength card basically says, have the courage to speak up, have the courage to say what you need to say or what you're holding in your heart. This is the time that you defend yourself. For those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, that Page of Swords does suggest some kind of paperwork or adaptation will need to be made. And I've got to be honest with you, it feels like it's because somebody in the office or, at the school or whatever has made a cock up. It's not yours, it's theirs. But even still, you will have to go through the rigmarole once more. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, I had to really think about that one. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, this could be a situation that arises this week where you kind of say to yourself, even though I'm comfortable and I've got security in my job, I'm going to start looking. I'm going to start having interviews. I'm going to start going elsewhere. And this might come about from a conversation that you have this week. I personally feel like you are meant to stand your ground and meant to say what you think and say what you feel, because that's really the only way that we affect change. Something that a trusted advisor said to me just recently is you can't unhear what somebody has said to you, right? So even if they don't hear you at the time, they'll go away, it will filter in, and somewhere, it will work its way through them. So if it's your boss, and I do feel like it will be a person in a position of power, you kind of putting them in their place. Like everybody knows, when you go to work, when you've got a boss, there's a chain of command, right? Nothing wrong with that. We have to follow the line. That's how it goes. But you don't get to behave like a complete dick or treat me a certain way just because you're my boss. There comes a point where you have to push back. And when you do, 9 out of 10 bosses will be like, rah, okay, you know what, usually this person's actually very level-headed. If they're pushing back so hard here, I do need to consider actually what's going on here. All right, now, for those of you that are business owners, for those of you that are employed by somebody else, there are more than enough opportunities out there for you, right? It's just how much security you are sort of, willing to have and all the rest of it. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, people that work for themselves, I like this for potentially you standing your ground on a legal matter or with a governing body. So let's say maybe it's even with your insurance company, right? There's something here where you're kind of having to say, listen, you provide this, but at the same time, you're providing me with a service. This might also be a client, right? Now, if you have a client that lies to you or doesn't give you the right information that you need to do your job right, etc., that's a problem. You might have to put a client in their place this week. Very possible if you're a business owner. And then when it comes to your those of you that are retired and no longer working, if you're retired and no longer working, this could be that you're having to work on some kind of paperwork or documentation, maybe even a license of some sort when it comes to either a living situation or on somebody else's behalf. It's like you're called upon to do A, B, and C. When it comes to your love and relations, you've got the Justice card, right? So for those of you that are single, this might actually be that maybe you've got somebody that's, kind of maybe pressuring you a bit to say, look, are you ever going to announce this? Are we an item? Are we official? Maybe there's something here that suggests that you're holding back, and I'm not sure why. It's very unlike Cancer to have that kind of energy, but there's some part of you that's not sure that you want to commit just yet. Search your heart and your feelings as to why. When it comes to those of you that are single, whoever you're connecting to this week, whatever the case might be, it might be somebody that rubs you the wrong way, but whoever you are connecting to this week, if there is somebody, you probably will have a very long courtship with this person where you kind of really go through the motions and you don't really make it official until the real latter part of this year. So I'm intrigued. Now, when it comes to those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, this is potentially some kind of dispute. It doesn't have to be with the partner, but it could be a legal situation that arises for you guys as a couple, and you have to find the strength to kind of see it through. All right. For a very select few of you, this might be very select few. You'll know if I'm talking to you. This might be where one of you starts some kind of legal proceeding to say, I think it's time. Before we get into your money and materials, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, astrology, tarot or numerology, look in the description box below, press the link and get that set up. For your money and materials, you've got the Eight of Cups. So, Eight of Cups is a card of walking away and leaving things behind, but it's also a card of addressing your emotional imbalances. It's also the number 8, right? Just like the Strength card. So 2 8s represents new knowledge, new wisdom, new information that's coming in, and decisions that you make as a result of that are going to see you walking away from or releasing something. Now, for a select few of you, I do wonder if you're in a financial situation this week where you've got the option to pay off or clear a debt, but it will leave you kind of not short, but it's like you know, like, okay, once I've done this, I won't have any more money for a set amount of time. As long as you're covered and you know you're going to be able to pay your bills, you're going to be able to eat, etc. Let's be sensible, people. Pay it off. Right, you'll recoup that, whatever it is, you'll recoup it quicker than you realise, probably within the next 2 months. If you can do that and you can get yourself to a place where you are at least one debt free, I would go for it. When it comes to your physical health and vitality, the Eight of Cups would be your feet, your ankles and your toes. With the Strength card here, watch out for this. Because this can be, you know, touch wood, stubbed toes, all of that kind of stuff, you know, rushing about, drop something on the foot, all that, and it's horrible. I never forget one time I've got a weird knuckle on the big toe on the left side, and I dropped a pan right on it, like right on the, you know, right on the knuckle, and I was like, ah! Anyway, for those of you that are, sorry, when it comes to your home and environment, for a lot of you, I wonder, even whether you're partnered, whether you're single, I do wonder if this is the start, the beginning of the start of you leaving the place that you live in right now. There's some kind of change or shift that comes up for you here. All right, with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.